Hello, my name is Bill Silk. Um, I had a father who struggled with IPF for about 5 years. I would say that the first few years weren't anything that seemed that important. Like IPF wasn't a big deal. It didn't seem like it, at least, until the last 2 years. He really started to struggle with IPF. So, through my experience, I thought today I would cover the importance of family support, the limitations, and the faith that you're going to need through this whole entire endeavor. Um, Depending on your stage of where you're at of IPF, you might feel like this isn't going to be a big deal, or you'll just push yourself through it and you'll be fine. But I can tell you that my father was an athlete, non-smoker, didn't drink, worked out all the time, took great care of his health, and he pushed himself to the limits. Um, every day while we were there, the hospital staff always watched who was coming, who was going, uh, you know, how much we cared, basically, because to be a candidate for a lung transplant, they need to know that that family support is there. Um, Without that family support, then they're almost throwing away the lungs. They're throwing away any possibility of life for that individual. So step one, you got to have family support, people who care and consistently show up all the time, all the time. If you don't have that, then your chance of getting lungs is very, very slim. So yeah, they watched us pretty close. My dad was, in his 60s, so the possibility of him getting lungs was pretty slim, pretty slim. He had to pass a lot of tests, but he passed. He passed all those tests. Um, so about, I would say, 10 minutes before he was going to go pass away. I hear this all the time from people, this dramatic thing that was going to take place, but no, this actually happened. Like 10 minutes to an hour, we'll say, before he was going to pass away, they came in with the announcements that he was going to be getting lungs, and that was huge. That was huge. I mean, you can only imagine. You're thinking that your best friend is about ready to die, and he has a second chance. This is huge. So what we did was we wheeled him down the hall to another wing of the hospital, and as we got to that wing, we joked around a little bit, to kind of lighten up the mood. And I said, Dad, no matter what you do, I says, don't go towards the light. Don't go towards the light. Like, you stay here. And, we all laughed, but I still wasn't really realistic. I mean, it just doesn't seem realistic that your dad is going to pass away. But he went into the operating, and when he got during the operation, he had a massive heart attack. So he passed all the tests, and yet he had a massive heart attack during the operation. He had a calcification on the heart or something they didn't see. So anyways, he got his lungs, they got his heart going again, he got out of there. So now we are in we'll call it the ER. It's way extreme. It's like a one nurse or one specialized person in a room with all these machines and hoses going in your mouth and tubes. It's just nothing that most people could handle watching. But my mom and my sister had a really hard time with that. They couldn't be in the room, but I stayed with them the whole entire time. I feel like we were in there for about 5 days. And during this whole time, he would flail his legs up high as you could, just right up in the air. Now keep in mind he had a clamshell incision, so what they do is they cut you like this. I've been told it's one of the most painful incisions you can have. My dad, even after this whole experience, never really complained about the pain of the incision or anything like that, but I'm sure it's quite painful. But anyways, he was flailing his legs up, slamming them down, flailing them up, slamming them down. He would open his eyes big, and he had just this look of terror, utter terror. Now, my father never had looks of terror or anything like that. He was a strong man. Not that you wouldn't be strong, but... So anyways, he had this fearful look, and he would point every so often, and his eyes would be open, but it was just a look of terror. I'll never forget it. And after days of this, they decided that they didn't know why he would kick his legs straight up and slam them down on the bed, so they gave him a epidural, thinking that he was in pain. Anyways, the epidural didn't do anything. It didn't stop his terror. It didn't stop him trying to flail and move around. And when he came out, when he came out of it, he came to. He said to me, he said, "I want to go on the stage. I want to go on the stage, and I want to tell everybody what I saw. They need to know. They need to know that it's real." Those were his words. Now, keep in mind, prior to everything taking place, me and my father would go to church. I would try to get him to go to church. He would go to church with me. I think he tried to believe in God the best that he could, and that's what he tried to do. So he wasn't real knowledgeable about the Bible. He didn't have abundance of knowledge on any particular subject. He was going to learn and find faith. And when he came out of it, he said that he had experienced, I would say, the other side, if you will. He said that he was in a dark, dark place where there was no ending, there was no beginning, there was no time itself. You had no conception of time, and you were constantly being told what you had done wrong, that you were selfish and all the things that go with this. But he never missed his family when he was there, because he had no memory of family or anything before. He only had memory of the wrongdoings he had in his life. So when he came back, that's what he said. He said it was the worst place you could ever be. He said you couldn't even fathom the darkness. So when he came back, the only thing that he wanted to do was have scripture read to him. He said he could muster up a mustard seed of faith after that. And he had scripture after scripture and after scripture read to him. He had fear put in his eyes, put in his heart. And in a way, I guess that was kind of a gift. I can look at it as a gift, because when you really think about it, to experience something like that, if you don't believe, and then to be given the experience, you have to believe. It'd be like me picking up this mouse to my computer. I know it's here. It's here. It's a tangible item. And that is exactly what he experienced. So anyways, he wound up leaving the hospital, and we took him home. And he was recuperating, and I was getting him in the shower and helping him get bathed so he wouldn't fall down. At this point, he had severe muscle wasting. There was not much left to him. It was like a picture of a bodybuilder, concrete guy, wasted away to a little frail old man. So I was helping him, getting him in the shower, taking care of him, getting his meds adjusted, and we got to the point where we were able to walk from the house to the end of the driveway to where the mailbox was. Doesn't seem like that big of a feat, but it was looking good. I mean, he still had heart problems, which we were going to take care of in the future. but that wasn't the main issue. It was getting him mobile. So anyways, we got him more mobile, and then I was just talking to him. Everything was fine. Just like he was back to listening to the radio, reading magazines, watching TV. I'm sure he wanted to get up and do more things, but that's where he was at. Hold a conversation, keep his food down. Like the life was given back to him. And we had this for about a month, 1 month. Now, keep in mind, after the lung transplant, you get about 5 years. Okay, you know, sure, granted, some people get a lot longer than that, but let's just go off the mark. You hope for 5 years. If you get 5 years, great. Those can be the best 5 years that you will ever have, and that's what we were counting on. He wanted to have more time with his family. He wished he didn't work as much, and he wished he would spend more time with us. Nah, I'm fine with how my childhood was, but that was what he wanted. That's what he wished he would have done. So anyways, back to where I was. He wound up within hours having a few problems with his chest. Went in there, and he had a infection, they say. I'm not a doctor, but about this big, with hours. It's like I was just talking to my dad. Just poof, full body, septic. Just spread right through him like wildfire. And, you know, he sat there looking at me with this mask on his whole face like this. He's wide open. And that fear that he had before was there, but it wasn't the same fear like he had when he was in the darkest place ever. It was the fear and the realization that this was it. And this was it. He knew it. We sat there all night as he slowly got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until, you know, he wasn't conscious anymore. We sat there and they slowly adjusted his oxygen. He went septic and he passed away. It was the hardest thing that I ever had to deal with. But my dad was a fighter. And for some people that are questioning whether or not they should go for a lung transplant, I mean, that extra month that he got was the biggest and greatest gift I ever got, was that extra month I had with my father. So, you know, you don't really realize the impact that you may have on your family in 1 month. It may not be 5 years. It may not be 10 months. But that month that you thought didn't count, it counts more than you will ever know. So if I have any recommendation to anybody, is that when you go in that hospital and you're trying out to get lungs, be on that recumbent bike. Exercise until you cannot stand it anymore, till you feel like you're going to die. They're watching every single thing that you do. And have faith. Because in the end, that is the most important thing you're going to have for this journey. And just keep your hopes high. My dad did. And all the way down to the last second, he got his lungs. He earned his faith. He found God. And now he's in a better place. So I wish everybody good luck on their journey. And I hope it's as powerful, as eventful, and life-giving as mine. Thank you. Live your life.